And welcome into the Gary Ayd Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Online at cavetalkradio.com and the Cave Talk Radio app. Of course, Facebook Live as well. Great to have you aboard. Gary Ayd, Rich Anselmo. And we have an interesting show in store for you today. Opening with a little NBA news for the opening rant today. The NBA, well, the Golden State Warriors, more specifically, have announced that Draymond Green will not be suspended. He will be fined an undisclosed amount, and he will have to, quote, rebuild their trust that was broken. And he understands that. So basically nothing. Basically, go on a quick little vacation. They give you a little fine, whatever it is. Even if it's $1 million, it's pretty irrelevant to him. And that's the end of it. Great. They say Jordan Poole was consulted in this. That's nice. I guess. That's good of them. But like, honestly, this just, I'm really at a loss. Now, this doesn't mean that they're not secretly still shopping him, but I'm very surprised that this kind of went with such a whimper. And I guess maybe surprised is the wrong word. Disappointed is probably a better word, because they seem to be much more interested in prosecuting some random video person than they are like fixing the guy who punched their future best player in the face. Like, I don't know, priorities maybe? just curious, because like, this reminds me, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of like 20 years ago, whatever it was, when like the NFL was much more concerned about finding out whatever video intern leaked the fact that Belichick was spying on the Jets practice than they were worried about Belichick spying on the Jets practice. Like, that video intern was like, almost in the witness protection program, just about. It's like, but like, no. Who leaked this? Forget the activity. My God, who leaked it? Who dared show the truth? It's so backwards. And like, the Warriors aren't going to give up on finding where that leak came from and throwing that person under the bus, who probably makes $30,000 a year and probably got paid $500,000 for that video. It was probably like virtually a lottery ticket for that person. And instead of going after Green for actually doing the act, they're going to go after some guy who basically hit the lottery with a piece of film that he was able to sell to TMZ. It's like, man, wow. Because the longer that went on, there was like radio silence on this for quite a while. I just assumed that meant that they were thinking about doing something serious. Boy, was I wrong. Oh, well.
Well, you even talked about it yesterday.
I did. No, I know. I definitely did.
I expected something a little more than this. And I'm curious if they're still not shopping him. The only thing I take away from this is, could he possibly? Could they not have any takers out there for him?
I mean, that's possible.
And they're stuck with him for the year.
Yeah, I mean, I find it unlikely, but maybe they didn't have any takers at the price that they wanted. That's I mean, because who knows what they were going to ask for him. I mean,
you have to get a contributing piece back.
Right. I mean, I don't see why Phoenix wouldn't just say, here's Crowder, we'll take Green. I don't know what their money situation is. You might have to throw a second piece to make money work. I'm sure Green makes more than Crowder. But like, that seems like a fix for everybody, right? They're kind of similar players. They both bring the same general concept to the court. Green, a better playmaker. Crowder is a better shooter. But they're fairly similar otherwise. They both have that kind of tough guy persona, and both are on the outs of their respective team, or Guess maybe Green isn't.
Maybe Green isn't.
You know, that's I mean, that's what they said.
That's what they said.
I saw that late last night.
Yeah.
Because of course I was up till a ridiculous time last night.
I wonder why.
3 guesses.
Baseball.
And 2 of them involve pucks.
Pucks. Yes, pucks. So yeah, there we go.
And I heard it. I thought, well, you know, there's got to be more to this. I would have loved to have been a fly in the room. Did Poole really sign off on this? That's what I wanted.
It's a good question.
Is this okay with him? Apparently, talked and they kumbaya. Everything was just fine. But was it?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to imagine it is. I mean, and you know, it's also not hard to imagine Poole getting a call from Durant and being like, "Look, man, I get where you're coming from. Your contract comes up. Why don't you come over here?" Like, I could totally see that type of solution already happening.
I wonder if the Warriors kind of pulled Poole aside and told him, you know, he's up at the end of this year. You're up.
Yep.
You're the future. Stick this out. We're not re-signing him.
You know what? That could be very well the case.
Because they have to keep it.
They do. Absolutely. There's no question about it. They don't have a choice. I mean, he's there, like you said, he's the future.
Right. Green is not.
Right. No, he's not.
He's already put 1,300 years into the league.
That's true. Yeah, he's a 13-year veteran. That's right. It's crazy to think that, isn't it?
I know.
I mean, time really just goes by.
And I mean, I remember when he was at Michigan State. It's really nuts to watch this.
No, it's true. You ain't lying.
But I guess they're just going to have to for this season.
That's exactly the plan. It has to be. I mean, it has to be. But man, what a rough what a rough start to the year. I mean, you're talking a week out from the start of the season, less. And this is definitely going to be one of the hot storylines of the start of the season.
There's another blow up. You're going to hear all about it.
Or what if they get off to just a slow start? What if at the end of November they're 4-6 or 5-5? You know, or whatever.
That kind of stuff doesn't worry me.
Well, it shouldn't, and I agree with you. But the storyline and talking points are going to be has this affected, and that type of stuff. If it hits critical mass and sustains, can derail a season.
True.
So I think
for me, I don't care how you start. I care more.
Of course, and that's going to be Steve Kerr's message and the veteran leader's message. But the other question I have is, even if they accept him back, are they going to listen to Green the same way after this? He has to have lost some of his cachet.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
He has to have.
I'm sure he did. Curry didn't come out and say that, but he intimated that.
Right. I mean, this guy
has nothing to say.
Right. So it's gonna be interesting.
And the first voice there is going to be players. Period.
Right, of course, absolutely. And then Thompson right behind him.
And they have both earned that.
Right. Oh, of course. Both of them in particular. For totally different reasons. I mean, Curry has been this organization for years now, and Thompson to me is the ultimate secret weapon of the whole thing. I mean, he's the stuff. He's the straw that stirs the drink. To quote Reggie.
And I like it. And does this make Kerr's leash on Green in games a little shorter?
Good question.
Sometimes he'll just let him go a bit.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Change.
Good question. Really is. Lot of cool stuff to talk about. That's for sure. We got a lot today. We got the question of the day coming up. We got lots of baseball. Of course, the NHL season dropped yesterday, so Rich will give us a quick update on the locals in particular. And we got, of course, the top 5, and we continue our NBA season preview. So a lot to get to. We're just getting rolling. Back after this, it's the Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. You need to get to the dentist right away. Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. There's no waiting period. That means you can call right now, real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars. Up to $5,000 annual maximum and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a phone call away. Now don't wait and be sure to ask about Spirit's Vision Plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Life happens. You need money. What do you do? Call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, all terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. If you need up to $5,000, maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
All right, we're back. Great to have you aboard. Great to have the Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave. So let's hit the radio question of the day.
Concussion news is always bad, save perhaps this one exception. CEO, back in a minute with your question of the day.
You watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes than taxes were filed in a few years. Get ready. The IRS, the largest agency in the world, with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Don't panic. Call my friends and get a tax lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do, and you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-691-7987. 800-691-7987. That's 800-691-7987.
Every year, there are more than 3 million reported concussions in the United States. But despite those alarming statistics and growing concerns over the long-term effects of traumatic brain injuries, there is currently no FDA-approved drug used to treat concussions. But that may soon change. Medical technology innovator Odyssey Health just announced the successful early testing of a first-of-its-kind concussion drug. Odyssey's novel PRV-002 was effectively administered in a phase 1 clinical trial, and thus far, the drug has been shown to be safe and well tolerated. Question: would you be willing or unwilling to take part in a phase 1 trial for a concussion drug?
Rich?
Yes. No, I would not.
Yeah, I mean, how could you?
Take part in something that was tested and approved. But no, I would not be, because you don't know what other kind of effects you have. You don't know what else it does to you. You don't know if it works with the medicines you currently take. There's way too many questions to just sit there and say, oh, yeah, sign me up. Doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I mean, I look, after what happened to with COVID, I mean, I'm not trying anything. The way they jam these vaccines out, I can't imagine. Now, the problem is, of course, everyone's worried about concussions right now. It's the flavor of the month right now because of the tour situation. So everything's like all helter skelter. But the bottom line is, I mean, unless you play football or played football, you probably aren't likely to be having a whole bunch of concussions. Certainly, for me to try something like this, it would require severe and likely long-term repercussions of not trying it. Like, in order for me to even consider any kind of trial, I have to be basically up against it. Like, if it's like basically, okay, you're going to die or you're going to be infirm or impaired in some meaningful way, or you're already on your way there, then, okay, you start going into Hail Mary mode, so to speak. But short of that, I'm not trying anything. I'm not a lab rat, like guinea pig.
I don't want to either. I have never played football at a high level, but
oh, me either.
I've suffered 3 concussions playing basketball.
What?
It's possible. Yeah.
What were you, headbutting the backboard? What were you doing?
No, one came from an elbow.
Okay.
One came from a pass that I got in the way of.
Okay.
And didn't move quickly enough.
Yep.
I've had a few, and they're not fun. And is there really a wonder drug that's going to take that away, or is that just going to mask the symptoms?
It's true.
I mean, I'm sure there are people out there that would say, oh, yeah, mask the symptoms. I love it.
Yes. Mask them. Just hide them. Masks are the thing now, Rich. They're like a fashion statement. I had this mask during COVID. I'll never forget it. It literally, the name of the website literally was fakemask.com. So it was like basically like a see-through thong, basically, that they turned into a mask, but it covered your face. So it was technically compliant. It was just a basic middle finger of saying, yeah, the hell with you, this shit.
I got a couple from friends that were kind of cool, but my favorite one was one that said Spaceballs, the mask.
That's great.
I liked that one a lot.
Oh, that's great. That's absolutely great. I love it.
But no, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go into any trial study for anything.
No.
And what if it does just mask the problem?
Right.
I'm sure there's people out there that would just love that. Looking at you, NFL.
Hey.
But sorry, I can't resist.
You can't help yourself.
But I just wouldn't do it.
Right. No, it's fair.
And, I'm completely with you on this.
Yeah, no, it's fair. I mean, like I've always said, I think there's 2 sides to this issue, broader issue of trial treatments and medications.
Yes.
I think everyone should be able to sign whatever needs to be signed to try anything they wish to try if they are so inclined. But I also think that everyone should use significant judgment in trying anything, and it should never be forced on anyone. Or coerced, even. I think that it's criminal when there are potential trial medications, but because they're not FDA approved or something else, they're not allowed to try them when like their outcome is essentially decided otherwise. You know, like if I'm in that situation, I'm gonna try anything.
Right.
You know, if I'm gonna die, well, I don't care what kills me. If this has a chance of not having me not die or has a chance of killing me, well, I'm gonna die from whatever it is anyway, right? So the hell,
True.
why wouldn't I try it at that point?
And this is an initial trial. It's not even a trial like in its third or fourth stage.
Right. It's just like,
It's
hey,
it's an initial trial.
can't we just like, sorry, PETA in advance, I'm about to offend you. So if you're listening, turn it off. Can't we just like take a lab mouse, bang its head against the wall, give it a concussion, and then inject it with this drug and see if it works? Like, isn't that why we have lab mice? Like, not humans. I did apologize in advance.
I don't think it's the same.
Doesn't work that way? Come on.
I don't think.
All right. All right.
Seriously, though, what if you're on a few things? What if you're taking a few drugs for like your heart or, you know, anything?
Well, I'm on coffee. Does that count?
This counts. Josh
All right.
Allen's JA17 blend.
Boom. That's some kind of local thing?
It is. He's a coffee hound and kind of worked with a coffee roaster to make his own
Oh, that's tremendous.
blend. It's not a mild, but not a dark roast. It's a medium, but it's good. It's a nice breakfast coffee.
All right, there you go. I know you love those breakfast coffees.
I do. I do.
Yep, absolutely. So, well, good stuff. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk the baseball. Specifically,
Oh, yeah.
we're talking Yankees and Seattle. About that whole playoffs thing. Yeah, let's talk about that. Back after this. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. That's 800-370-2460.
Come on. You watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes. Then, if you owe back taxes or haven't filed in a few years, get ready. The IRS, the largest collection agency in the world, will be coming after you with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Hey, they can freeze your bank account, your passport, even padlock your business. Oh, good times. Look, if the IRS claims you owe them $5,000 or more in back taxes and they're coming after you, don't panic. Call my friends at Get a Tax Lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do, and you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. That's 800-649-8617.
All righty, we're back here on the Gary Ayd Show. Great to have you aboard. So last night, the Yankees took down their opponent. Of course, they beat Cleveland, the Guardianas. Oh, Rich, I meant to tell you this yesterday, by the way. I'm so used to saying Guardianas. I was listening to the Indians, Guardianas broadcast yesterday on satellite radio. And when they said Guardians, it took me half a second to realize who they were talking about. I was like, oh, wait, that is their name. It's not Guardianas. We have these nicknames on the show that we use them so much and so completely without variation that I sometimes forget the team's real name. Like I absolutely think the Washington team is the Commies and not the Commanders. But I hear their
The
name.
baseball team is the Nationals.
The
not the
Nationals. Yeah,
Nationals.
I guess those are the three, and then the Guardianas.
And in football, we have Seattle.
Yeah, I haven't quite raised to that level with them yet, because that one's on the newer side, the Seahags.
The Seahags,
yeah,
yes.
that one's newer, so I still can understand Seahawks. It hasn't quite been ingrained in my mind enough just yet, but it'll get there, I'm sure. But you know what? I have to give credit where credit is due. Garrett Cole did exactly what you want Garrett Cole to do if you're the Yankees last night. He was absolutely great. And you know what was amazing? This wasn't a clean game for him by any stretch. He got into trouble more than once and both times danced around it, which is the mark of a ace pitcher who knows how to get the job done in tough spots. I mean, that was a very impressive, gutsy, intestinal fortitude, whatever adjective you want to use for cojones. Cole displayed them for all to see last night. He really, really was big in important clutch spots, high leverage spots, as they would call them.
He was. He did exactly what he had to do. And like we talked about yesterday, Guardians do not manufacture many runs.
No, you're right.
And not having one of their top two pitchers in there, it showed.
Yes. Well, and then kind of go rapid fire around these series yesterday. Philly, and remember I said yesterday, we all picked chalk in all four series, but I did say if there was one team I thought had the best chance of pulling an upset, it was the Phillies because of that lineup. And sure enough, they win a slugfest 7-6 because of that lineup. And they batted around Max Fried, which is a hard thing to do.
It is.
They looked really good.
Castellanos was amazing.
He's incredible. And I know one of our listeners here in the chats, Carlos, seems to be a Phillies fan. And shout out to his guys, as much as that pains me to say, being a Met fan. But I can't win in this series. You're both repulsive as far as I'm concerned. So take your flowers, Carlos, but I can't stand it. They might be Walmart flowers. I'm just giving you a heads up.
I mean, not only was he great at the plate, though, he made a key catch.
Oh, in
the last inning in the outfield, he made an incredible catch.
Yeah, no,
that sliding catch he made, and that was Harper got 3 hits.
Yeah, I mean, look,
if these bats are getting hot at this time,
it's a lineup, man. That's a lineup that you can easily get trounced by, no matter who you are. I mean, when you start talking about Castellanos, Harper, and Real Muto all in the same lineup, that's no picnic, man. Those are some tough outs.
And then you're mentioning these guys, and you forget about the guy who led the National League.
Kyle Schwarber, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And I know you had some a hot take of sorts on Seattle. Oh man.
Oh, gee, that's done. It's done.
All right, let it rip.
No, seriously, there's no recovering from this. Even with a day off, maybe it'll lessen. No, it won't. You get 7 runs off of Houston at home.
Against Verlander.
You swatted Verlander away like a fly. And the manager finds a way to lose in the 9th with 2 outs by making one of the most bizarre pitching choices I have ever seen in my life. You got a guy who stunk in game 2 against Toronto. They were fortunately able to come back from that. He gives up more home runs to left-handed hitters than any pitcher in the league. He had a horrible September. Who's the one guy you don't bring in? Robbie Ray. In this situation, you don't bring him in. They closed out the Toronto game with George Kirby in the 9th, and he came in and was throwing 100. Why not bring him in again? He's a starter. He's probably not going to start in the playoffs as a rookie, and they have a few other starters. Although I wouldn't let Ray on the field again. Anybody but him in that situation. Now, why do I know what Service doesn't know? Robbie Ray is not, and he proved it last year in Toronto at the end of the season. Even though he won the Cy Young, Robbie Ray's not built for these moments.
No, you're right. And it does take a certain personality type and stress tolerance level to succeed in those moments. That's why I'm convinced the longer I watch sports, the more convinced I am that Mariano Rivera is the single most unique athlete I've ever watched in my life. I mean, what he did isn't reality, and he did it for 20 years. I mean, what he did, like, you're supposed to be nervous when your closer comes in. Even other great closers are, they're high stress. They're coming in high stress situations, and it's supposed to be, they're supposed to get the job done, but it's not supposed to feel like, oh, he's here, we're good. But it felt like that for 20 years with Rivera. Talk about being spoiled. I mean, it will forever be my favorite sports statistic. I quote it every so often because it's just otherworldly, literally. There's been more men to walk on the moon than score against Rivera in the playoffs. That's stupid.
It is amazing. It truly is.
And
but, I mean, they have all these analytics and stuff, right?
Right, yes.
This is one time you might want to look at those numbers. This guy doesn't perform well in these situations. This guy can't deal with left-handed hitters.
Right.
As soon as they brought him in, I said,
"Oh, baby,
well, this one's over with one swing of the bat."
Oh,
and it was.
Oh, Alvarez crushed that ball too.
Yeah, he did. And he had a nice day too. 5 RBI. But I mean, that's a clutch hit that's going to stay with him for a while too. He's going to remember that.
Oh, without question.
And I don't care if you have 5 days off. The Mariners aren't forgetting this.
You can have all.
They're not.
This could end up being like what happened to the Atlanta Falcons after that Super Bowl loss. This could have like a 10-year lag to it. It could be here for another 20 years without the playoffs after this.
It's human nature.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, Service has got to answer for this. The 2 pitchers you brought in the 9th inning were your 2 poorest performers in the last 3 weeks and the playoffs.
Yeah, and Seattle, to Dylan's point,
knock, who's there? Common sense. Please open the damn door.
To Dylan's point in the chat, Seattle played their best game too. I mean, this was the best version of Seattle you could get for 8 innings.
He's absolutely right. They did.
And they blew a golden opportunity. I mean, when you chase Verlander, when was he out in the 3rd inning? 4th inning, Verlander?
4th.
Yeah, he gave up
3 2/3.
Gave up 4 runs in 2 innings. Like, when you do that on the road, you absolutely have to win that game.
Oh yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
That's what they did to Manoah in Game 1 in Toronto. Now, if they win that game yesterday and actually make intelligent decisions and get the W, you got Castillo going today.
Right. I mean, now you're in the driver's seat in that series.
You go back home up 2-0. I think they're done.
Yeah.
I think that this affects people.
Do you think they win tonight with Castillo still? So you think that's it?
No, I don't care if they pull Bob Gibson out of the ground. They're not winning this game.
Oh, jeez. Okay. I think it's time for a break. When we start resurrecting 80-year-old dead pitchers, I think it's time to cool our heels for a little bit. So let's go and do that. We'll come back. We'll do a little more baseball talk. We got the start of the NHL season to get to. And then hour 2, of course, top 5 news you can use, NBA preview. So that's what on tap the rest of the way. It's the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this here on The Cave.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you are ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
No more pricking my finger?
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
All right, we're back and kind of wrapping up our baseball conversation, at least for right now. We talked about the Yankees. We talked about the Phillies. We talked about Seattle. What about the last game last night? The Dodgers. That game went basically according to script. A valiant effort for San Diego. Played fairly well. But ultimately, the Dodgers just a little bit better, a little bit more punch in that lineup. And it's like we said yesterday, it's just hard to see the Padres beating them. I mean, the Dodgers they're just such a great team. I mean, you don't win 110 games or whatever they won for no reason. That's rarefied air. That doesn't happen. That might happen once every 25 years, that many wins in the season. Hell, the record's 116. So they came within a handful of games of the all-time record. So, I mean, this is a special Dodgers club. Even by their last 10-year standard of excellence, this team stood out even among that standard.
It is. And, I mean, what are your chances to begin with? What are your chances if you have Darvish,
right,
Snell, and Musgrove? You're throwing your fourth pitcher out there against a lineup that hits.
Right. Yep.
And, of course, he got shelled early. Urias didn't get through 5. He gave up 3 runs.
Well, that's
but the bullpen for the Dodgers did their job.
Well, that's what makes the Dodgers so dangerous, is that, like, no matter how their starting pitcher goes in a game, a lot of times it doesn't even matter because that lineup is so great, that bullpen is so great. If the starter is great and the offense is bad, like, they have so many ways to win that, like, they have, I guess what I'm saying is they have such a margin for error. They can play like their C game and be better than like other playoff teams playing their A game. I mean, they're just a dynamic team.
Yeah, and this is another one I think is just over in probably 4 games.
I mean, I gotta tell you, the more I watch this, because I didn't watch the Dodgers a whole lot this year. I was really fixated on the NL East during the season, to be honest with you. But I kept, at arm's length tabs on what they were doing and how many games they were winning. But now digging in and watching this team up close for a little bit now, I don't see how you beat them. I mean, like, really, because they can screw up as bad as they did last night with their starter, and it, like, doesn't even matter against a really good San Diego team. I mean, think of it this way. How much better really are any of the other NL teams than San Diego? Like, they're all maybe Atlanta's 20%, 15% better. Maybe Philly's 5% better. Like, they're all within range. Maybe. They're all within range. The Dodgers are way better than San Diego, even when San Diego plays a pretty good game considering the circumstances, and the Dodgers didn't play good. At least their pitching didn't. I don't know, man. I don't know how you beat this team. I really don't. Like, maybe the Astros could give them a run for their money, maybe, but I don't even know about that. this team just feels like they're better than everybody, to be just perfectly honest. Every once in a while in sports, you get that where it's just like the 2001 Lakers were just better than everybody. Like, you weren't going to beat them. You know, like
Right.
Golden State in 2015 or whatever it was just better than everybody. Like, sometimes there's just a team that's just better than everybody. And I feel like that's the case here.
And you just know who's going to win.
Right.
Yeah, they are. It would. I don't think Atlanta's going to do it. I really don't.
I think they have the best chance in the National League, but I agree with you. I don't see it.
I think Philly does.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. I mean,
for this reason, if they beat Atlanta, they are going to be on such a high, and they are going to think they can beat anyone.
Mm-hmm.
If they walked into this series first, it would be over. But and there's a long way to go, so I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I think they would have a slight chance, which is really all I think Atlanta has.
Yeah, it's hard to envision. It's hard to envision anyone beating the Dodgers. It really is. Hey, you know what? Last night, opening night for the NHL, hit us with that quick locally. I know the Rangers played last night. What else we got in the NHL last night?
Rangers did a great job. The game was not as close as the score. Mika Zibanejad scored 2 goals. Rangers beat Tampa Bay 3-1. They were the better team for the entire 60 minutes. They were all over them on the ice. They outshot them. They had better chances. The Rangers looked like the team looking to contend for a title a lot more than Tampa Bay did. There was a late game. Mark Stone scored with 25 seconds left in regulation, and Vegas beat the LA Kings 4-3. 12 teams open their schedule tonight. 2 games are on TNT.
There you go. Yeah, how's that new broadcast partnership looking? Is it from a fan's perspective? Is it an easy thing to access and like keep track of?
I prefer TNT to ESPN as far as doing hockey. I think they built the right staff to do it best. And they built a show to rival inside the NBA.
Who's the personalities there?
The personalities, Paul Bissonnette, who is a personality and a half. Wayne Gretzky. When Wayne talks, you just listen. Anson Carter, who knows the game and has an excellent sense of humor. And another former player, a player that played for Philly, and I don't remember his name right now because I haven't seen them yet this year.
All right, that's fair. Well, it's just the first game of the season. Rick Tocchet. Okay.
There you go. And ESPN doesn't do a bad job on the broadcast, but TNT put an amazing package together.
Yeah.
And their lead announcer is Kenny Albert. He's one of the best in the business.
Yeah, he's a great hockey announcer. He really is. He's done Ranger games for a long time.
Yeah.
And he's really sensational. I agree.
Comes from a good family.
Yeah, he does. There's some genes in that family for broadcasting. That's for sure. I personally, as much as I really don't like hockey, I've always had a lot of respect for hockey broadcasters. It's a very difficult sport to call well, and particularly radio broadcasters. The pace of it is so intense. The visibility with the equipment is so minimal, and they substitute every 15 seconds. That's like just hard to keep up with, man. It really is.
It is. It is. I have done it once.
Yeah,
and I will be doing it a few more times, and hopefully.
Yeah,
and it is extremely difficult to call.
It's a hard game. It really is. All right, well, there we have it. So let's take our last break of the hour. We'll come back and we will continue on. Let's ask the question. This is the question going into the offseason for the Mets. I want to talk Mets for just a minute. What would your priorities be? Let's put our GM hat on and kind of take a look around and see how could you improve this team? Because I don't want to overreact You did win 101 games, but you have a lot of free agents, and you have some decisions to make. So let's talk through that on the other side of the break. Back after this, it's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number, 800-631-9229, 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. Text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
All right, so let's go back to the Mets here for a second. So DeGrom, a free agent. They need, as far as I'm concerned, a bat. They have a couple other guys open who are coming up on contracts too. Put your GM hat on here, Rich. What's your priority? I assume DeGrom has to be priority number one. Beyond that, where do you go from here if you're the Mets to build on, the regular season success you had this year anyway?
I re-signed Brandon Nimmo, first and foremost. You have to. He's the engine. He makes that team go, and you need him. DeGrom, yeah, you need to re-sign him. But for how long and how much? How long is he going to want? And a lot of that's going to matter because I don't have this trust issue with his injury history right now. You have to sign. I would give him a shorter deal, as short as I could. And I would also like to see a good long reliever. You need another arm in the bullpen.
Couple of guys open for arbitration this year: Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Dominic Smith, Daniel Vogelbach, Thomas Nido, Luis Guillorme, Drew Smith, and Joey Lucchesi. I don't really care about Joey Lucchesi, nor do I care that much about Drew Smith. Guillorme and Nido are interesting to me. I think
I want Nido. I do. He's just an excellent defensive catcher.
Yeah, but man, he couldn't hit a ball off a tee.
I don't care.
Oh God, it's brutal to watch. I know catcher's not an offensive position, and
he's got command of the game behind the plate.
But I
don't care if he hits.
I get stitches in my side every time he comes to the plate with just angst. This is painful. Oh man, he's terrible.
I thought you saved those for Lindor.
No. Lindor gives me a total I have to go to the bathroom and get up and relieve myself after his at-bats. He's a different level. God.
Out of those people, I don't think they're bringing back Vogelbach.
Yeah, I don't think so. Dominic Smith, I kind of forgot about him because he's been injured a lot this year. He could add something to that lineup. But where do you play him? That's the challenge. I guess now you have the DH in the National League, so you have a little more flexibility. I still think this team needs a power bat. I think they need a power bat, and I think they need. I'm okay, all joking aside, with Nito as a backup catcher or a platoon catcher. I want a starting catcher who is at least league average for the position offensively. I'd have to do some research to see who that could be and who's available, but I'm also done with McCann. He's hot trash, and let's just move on from him. Let's bring in someone who's maybe a little bit better offensively than Nito. Maybe Nito's better defensively, and you kind of platoon the two. I think you need to incrementally improve the catcher position. I still think, and I said this in the offseason, I said it all year, I still believe you need a power hitting corner infielder here, a third baseman of some kind. And then I agree with you, shore up that bullpen. The last thing I would like to see is some type of, doesn't have to be an ace material, but some type of youngish arm in the starting rotation that has the chance to get better. So someone like in that 25 to 26 range, 27, that might be a third or fourth starter right now, but could grow into a second starter. Because their starters are ancient.
I was just going to say Robbie Ray might be available.
No thanks.
I understand what you're saying about the third baseman, but before you go jettisoning the entire catching staff, how about how do the pitchers feel?
Well, that's fair.
What if one of your two pitchers loves pitching to a specific catcher?
Well, how about this?
I mean, catchers have made careers out of being that guy.
Yes, Doug Mirabelli. Yes. Kyle Higashioka. Yes, I understand that. Well, how about this? Alvarez is your opening day catcher with Nito as a platoon. How about that?
That's fine. I mean, you have Alvarez.
Right. I mean, the way they called him up, the whole timing of that was just weird. The whole thing made no sense. They called him up at the very end of the season in the highest pressure situation possible, barely used him, put him on the playoff roster, barely used him. I really don't understand what they were doing with that. It didn't make any sense. They could have brought him up at any point during the whole year, and it would have been met with universal excitement and anticipation. Instead, they did it the way they did it, and you're left going like this. Scratching your head, huh? What? And then the way they used them made it even more confusing.
I agree. It was not fair to put him in that situation.
It just didn't make any sense.
And you expected him to do something that he didn't even have a chance to get acclimated at all. And I understand when you come up from the minors, you've got to be thrown right in. But that was not the right time.
No, it wasn't. And if you're gonna do that, at least put him in the game on a regular basis. If you're gonna toss him to the Wolves in such a way, well, let him go and see if he can fight off the Wolves. Don't put him in the playpen with the Wolves surrounding him. That's what they did. They put him in the playpen with the Wolves walking around the pen and just let him fuster on the bench and feel the pressure, but not go out there and have a chance to do anything about it. So it really there was no point. It was just dumb.
No, it's the worst situation to throw someone in like that.
It was stupid.
I didn't get it at all. The timing was terrible.
Yeah,
it made no sense.
It made no sense. I totally agree. All right, let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back. We got the top 5 today. Talking about being thrown to the Wolves, I think it's my turn to go back into the firing range. So
it is, Rich, and I've got a good one.
All right, well, looking forward to it. We'll be back after this. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch. Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
It's October 12th. I'm Rich Anselmo with Cave Sports Rewind. On this day in 1979, the NBA's first three-point shot was hit. It had a history. At the direction of Abe Saperstein, the ABL became the first basketball league to institute the three-point shot in 1961. After they shut down in 63, it was popularized by the ABA, who introduced it in its inaugural 67-68 season. ABA Commissioner George Mikan stated that the three-pointer would give the smaller player a chance to score and open up the defense to make the game more enjoyable for the fans. During the 1970s, the ABA used the three-point shot along with the slam dunk as a marketing tool to compete with the NBA. Its ninth and final season concluded in the spring of 1976. The official scorers report showing the first three-point field goal in NBA history on October 12, 1979. The NBA adopted the three-point line for a one-year trial for that season, despite the view of many that it was a gimmick. Chris Ford of the Boston Celtics is credited with making the first three-point shot in NBA history. The season opener at Boston Garden was more remarkable for the debut of Larry Bird and two new head coaches, Bill Fitch of the Celtics and Del Harris of the Rockets. Rick Barry of the Rockets in his final season also made one in the same game, and Kevin Greavy of the Washington Bullets made one that night as well. I'm Rich Anselmo, and this is The Cave, Orange County's conversation station.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time for King Talk Radio's Top 5.
All righty, top of hour number 2. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave, and top of the hour means it's top 5 time. Toby wouldn't miss it. You shouldn't miss it either. It's the top 5. What do we got today, Rich?
Inspired by Yordan Alvarez.
Oh, yes.
Air Yordan, as I like to call him. Give me your 5 favorite walk-offs in MLB history.
Whoa. Okay. Well, number 1 is easy. Without question, it's Luis Gonzalez blooping that single over Derek Jeter's head to win the World Series in Game 7 for the Diamondbacks in 2001. I absolutely detested Derek Jeter, and I absolutely loved the fact not only that the Diamondbacks won, that that the fact that it went over his head because he was playing too far in against a guy who hit 50-something home runs that year, and his mental cramp cost him the World Series in a Game 7, that was absolutely tremendous. That's definitely number one. I don't even know where I go after that, but that's number one. Obviously, Joe Carter's walk-off with Toronto. I don't have any particular love for Toronto. I don't dislike them. I don't like them. They're just another team. But for pure dramatics, that's pretty as good as it gets. I suppose I'm a Met fan, so behind the bag, it gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it. Has to be part of the deal.
I figured that.
I think that's a rule. Let's see. So those three come to mind quickly. Mike Piazza. I don't remember if it was a walk-off. I think it was. In the wake of 9/11, hit a really significant home run. And I think it was a walk-off.
Was that?
I don't remember. I have to look that up. It was so dramatic that it felt like one. It might not technically have been one. I'd have to look that up. But I think that was a good one. Bucky Dent is always a pretty intense one. Aaron Boone comes to mind. Not that I liked that, of course, but that was interesting. Of course, Bill Mazeroski in 1960, walking off against the Yankees and basically ending the Mantle dynasty era. Being a light hitting second baseman made that even funnier. Watching Yogi Berra's knees like buckle in disbelief as it went over the left field wall made it even funnier. That was a really good one. Trying to think of a few others. I mean, there were so many in that 2001 World Series alone. That was easily, without a doubt, the most exciting and interesting World Series I've ever watched between the Yankees and Diamondbacks. That was something. I mean, the Diamondbacks blew not one, but two games with Byung-Hyun Kim and still won the series. Randy Johnson pitching in relief the day after pitching a gem. I mean, there's just that whole series. I could almost name 5 drama-filled moments, but
yeah.
Number one is definitely Luis Gonzalez, the bloop over Jeter's head to win that series. Number 2 is probably Buckner. Number 3, I think for me, has to be Bill Mazeroski was pretty cool. Number 4 would be Joe Carter. And number 5, last night was fairly dramatic. I hate being a prisoner of the moment and having recency bias. I guard very heavily against that. But given how that game played out, that felt like the closest you can come and not get arrested to putting your hand through someone's chest, ripping out their heart, throwing it on the ground, and stomping on it. I mean,
oh yeah, 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth.
I mean, you talk about just soul crushing for effect. We open with this, of course. We both agree on this. For effect of just heart crushing home runs. For that reason alone, I'm going to put it 5th on my list, just because this just felt like one of those moments in the moment that, like you said, it's over. And not only is the series over, this whole group of Mariners that was just starting to come together might be over. This could have like a Matt Ryan like effect, an Atlanta Falcons like effect. These are those type of moments that are just hard to come back from.
True. You didn't do the Kirk Gibson one, huh?
Yeah, that's a good one. I thought about that. I thought about Kirby Puckett. Had a couple of big ones. I guess I could throw Gibson in there in place of last night. I would probably put him, if it was either Gibson or Carter. I kind of had to choose between those two.
See, I had them both on my list.
Yeah, I could easily put them both on my list, but for me, I was factoring in, to some degree, a contributing factor on my list was my own enjoyment of them. and relevancy. And
it is your list.
Both of those are certainly seminal moments in baseball history, but not of particular relevance to me. So I kind of chose one to represent both.
Okay.
And I'm just going with Carter because, the Dodgers get enough attention. Let's give some Hail Canada. Let's go. Let's give him some attention. We talked hockey today. Now we mentioned Canada baseball. We've done our due diligence and our civic duty for our northern neighbors.
That is right. But one of my favorite cities in North America, though. I do like Toronto.
Yes. By the way, Brett Favre proclaiming his innocence. One of our Facebook chatters says that's like me telling a judge didn't know that the cop was a prostitute, so I'm innocent. It's like that's interesting. Like me, and for those that are maybe new to the show, first of all, thanks for joining us. But one thing you'll learn about me real quick is I have a militant adherence to innocent until proven guilty. So until Brett Favre is proven guilty in a court of law, I'm going to presume his innocence. And that's just the way I look at all these things, no matter how obvious something may or may not look on the outside. I am a strict constitutionalist when it comes to that particular factor of American society. And I will continue to say that until someone is proven guilty. But once they are, if they are, you throw the book at them, certainly. But
for me, just for taking money out of your charity to build something at your university shows me you're a scumbag at best.
Right. And that's fine. But there's nothing illegal about being a scumbag.
His day will come. We'll find out.
Yeah. Right. And, if he's proven guilty, I said this about Michael Vick many years ago. If you're proven guilty, and he was, you do the time, and he did. But then the last piece of that is once you do the time, you should be square with the house. People shouldn't hold it against you anymore. I think it's absolutely criminal that people still hold that thing against Michael Vick all these years later. Look, he lost a whole ton of money. He did a long for the crime. He did a significant prison sentence in a federal prison. He paid his debt. And, you have to let the guy move on. I mean, I have a lot of respect for employers who employ convicted felons who have been released, because someone has to. Look, if these people are going to end up having, not saying that Brett Favre needs to be employed by anyone. I'm not comparing the situations. Don't get it twisted. I'm just making a extrapolating statement here. If you're going to let people out of jail with a record, if they're going to have any chance of turning their life around and not becoming just an institutional statistic, someone has to employ them and give them a shot to make a living. You just have to. Otherwise, just keep them in jail forever. Because that's what's going to happen. If no one employs them, they're going to go back to the streets. They're going to sell drugs. They're going to commit crimes. Or if for other reason, then to have a place to live. If they don't have family. It's just common sense. But yeah, Brett Favre certainly is, this certainly makes him look like a scumbag.
Well, I don't think that's what your charity was for.
Probably not. No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Nor should it be.
Right.
These universities got money, please.
Right. Yeah, they really do. There's no question about that. Who do we got for the NBA today? We did Dallas yesterday.
Let me look here. We have one of the potential tanking teams, Houston.
Who's left? We got Houston,
Memphis, New Orleans, and San Antonio, speaking of potential tanking.
So we got 4 teams total left.
Yes.
There we go. That's perfect. We got today, tomorrow, and Friday, Monday, and then Tuesday is the start of the season.
It's perfect. We
did it.
We did it right.
That's right. Look at that. So we'll talk Houston today. Tanking might be an understatement. I mean, going into a season, they're not going to have to try too hard to lose with this roster.
No. Wait a minute. Now, they do have Boban.
Oh, for 5 minutes a game, they'll be able to score.
For 5 minutes a game, they're the most efficient team in basketball.
That's right. 5 minutes a half, maybe, if you really stretch him.
Yeah.
And then he needs a sauna and a hot tub. I don't think I've ever seen a player in my whole life who's that effective for 10 minutes and that ineffective from 11 minutes on. It's the funniest thing. It's like an off switch. It's like zoop, boom.
I've coached players like that, though.
Have you? Yeah.
If I get a spurt out of them, that's fine. And then immediately they're done.
Dylan over here, I think, needs some spell check. Talking about his Pacers, saying Victor Wemby.
I like it. I like it. I'll tell you what. And everybody talks about Halliburton. I love Chris Duarte.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Chris Duarte. What am I saying? Chris Duarte's a musician.
Duarte, he's a Pacer.
Yeah, and a good one, too. He had a great rookie year.
Yeah. You know who
he was an older draft choice because he played all his years at Oregon, and he showed he was ready to step into the NBA and contribute. And just give that team a couple more really top-notch players, and they could make some noise.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know who I think is really good? I'm sorry, Duarte. A really good comparison for him is two guys that he reminds me of. Eric Gordon, and also God, now I just lost his name. It's Gordon and Malcolm Brogdon.
All right, Gordon is perfect.
Yeah. That's really the guy that when I look at Duarte, I see Eric Gordon. Hopefully with better knees.
Yes.
Eric Gordon's career has definitely been mired by injuries, but he's had a career nevertheless. Where is he, by the way? Is he still in hostage situation in Houston?
I have no idea. He is still on their roster. He's got a 14-year career out of this, though. So
yeah, him and Kevin Love were doing time. Kevin Love finally on the other side of the tunnel. He's got the light at the end of the tunnel. Cleveland's looking good now. Him and Kevin Love, though, been doing time in Cleveland and and Indiana and Houston, respectively.
They have. They really have. Now, Dylan chimed in with someone he likes for NBA Rookie of the Year.
Mr. I'm better than LeBron James. Yeah, Mathern.
I knew you were going to have something to say about
that.
Well,
that's just a fun one. That's going to go into my category of Guardianas and Atnals. That one's just never going away.
But I got to post that Atnals thing.
You should.
If I didn't already on the page, I have to post it.
Yeah,
that's too.
You definitely
people need
should.
to know what we're talking about.
I totally agree. All right, well, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll continue the NBA talk. We'll talk about our good friends, the Houston Rockets, and see how much they're gonna rocket up the standings in terms of draft picks. Back after this, it's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines, plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. That's 800-370-2460.
Come on, you watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes. Then if you owe back taxes or haven't filed in a few years, get ready. The IRS, the largest collection agency in the world, will be coming after you. with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Hey, they can freeze your bank account, your passport, even padlock your business. Oh, good times. Look, if the IRS claims you owe them $5,000 or more in back taxes and they're coming after you, don't panic. Call my friends at Get a Tax Lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do, and you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. That's 800-649-8617.
All right, we're back. Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave. And you are NBA season preview, team by team. It's the Houston Rockets. I have to tell you, their team is about as bad roster-wise as I've seen in a while, along with where the Pistons were about 2 years ago. I mean, these teams don't look like NBA rosters. I mean, even some of the really bad teams that I've seen in my lifetime. I'm thinking of the mid-2000s Bobcats or the 2010s Kings. There was always at least a guy or two on the team that you thought, this is a really good NBA player. You know, I thought that about, of course, DeMarcus Cousins with the Kings, Gerald Wallace at one point with the Bobcats. I have to tell you, I look at this Houston roster and I think, God, these guys suck. They're terrible.
They are, but they have three players that interest me. Jalen Green is going to be really good.
Yes, that's a good one from last year.
Plain and simple.
Yep.
Kevin Porter Jr. has a chance to be special in this league. And he had a discipline problem as a rookie, but why Cleveland just dumped him like that was inexplicable. And I thought they drafted one of the better players this year coming out with the third pick in Jabari Smith. They have that to build around. But that's it. I mean, looking at this roster, let me know that Derek Favors and Willie Cauley-Stein are still in the league.
It's true.
Which I wasn't sure of at this point.
Derek Favors, always one of my favorite role players. He's like this era's Charles Oakley.
I mean, what does he have left at this point?
Hey, he's trying to get that Haslam treatment.
You got to stay in one place. I also like Sengun, the second-year center. The kid from Turkey. He was drafted in the middle of the round last year. He looked decent when he got to play. He's not going to be any kind of world beater, but he can be a role player with all these young players. There's a little something there to build on, but there is just nothing else. Just give me another name off that roster that intrigues you who's not named Boban.
That's a good question. I think Boban has an important role with this team in that I was just going to say they totally and completely lack all veteran leadership. And this is one thing I don't like about these teams that are rebuilding and potentially tanking is they go so all in on this that when they get the kids there they want, there's no one there to guide them. I mean, my God, come on. These kids are 19 years old. They want to get into the bar and club illegally. Someone has to have the fake ID. Come on, man. I mean, all kidding aside, like, why don't they have guys there? Like, you don't have to, you're not going to have a $40 million player. I understand where you're at, but like, why not have an 18 million Patrick Beverly or a 17 million, guy like, I don't know, like a Robert Covington, just someone to show these kids the ropes. It seems.
Well, they do. They got Derek Favors and Eric Gordon.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Eric Gordon.
Two guys who've combined for 26 years experience.
That's true.
Otherwise, there's nothing there. Nobody interests me in this roster.
I'm gonna check something real quick. I want to see if there are any over-unders published on win totals for this team this year. It might be a little early, but I think we're less than a week out of the season. I think these are probably up by now. Let's take a look. I'm just curious because honestly, I look at this team and I think if that over-under is set anywhere above 20, I'm probably taking the under. Let's see. Wins here.
Depending, how many times a year do they play Oklahoma City?
Houston over under 23.5.
I mean, they could mop up a few wins just with Oklahoma City because I like Houston's youth better than OKC's.
You know what's interesting about this? The plus side of the line where you actually can get plus money is actually the under. So they're favored slightly at minus 120 to win over 23.5. I'm taking the under, baby. Let's go.
I don't know. Like I said, I got to see how many times they play. There's a couple of bottom feeders they can feast on.
Yeah. But they're a bottom feeder too. The other bottom feeders are thinking the same thing.
Yeah, but they're a bottom feeder with some really good athletes.
There we go. Yeah, I agree with Dylan here. I think SGA is a better player than anyone Houston has right now.
He is, but that's really, I don't see that much on their roster.
I mean, Giddy's pretty good. They're gonna miss Holmgren.
Yeah, he's all right.
I don't know. I think those two teams split their season series.
I think they would have been a little more interesting had Holmgren not gotten hurt.
I agree. In fact, and this is gonna make Dylan's day. I do think that of all the teams that are potentially in contention for Wembayana, not Wembayana, come on, man, let's go, Wembayana. I do think the Pacers would be the best fit. I think he would really fit in there well. I really do. But I think that you add him to two guards like Duarte and Halliburton, Mathburn on the wing, a team that has a long history of consistent winning. They've fallen on hard times, but this is an organization that knows how to build a comfortable, sustainable culture. They've done it time and time again over decades. That's a nice landing spot for someone with that level of exposure and expectation to land somewhere not New York or not Chicago or not LA or something like that, I think is a big, big advantage for him. So I think the Pacers would be a great fit for Wembayana if they're so fortunate to win the lottery.
He would be. And Dylan just posted something about Devontae Adams. Yes, I had that written here that I was going to talk about that during News You Can Use.
Yes, no, I saw that earlier. So, yeah, we can get to that in a little bit. Let's take a quick break here real quick. All right, well, let's end this way. We heard the over-under. Where are you pegging the Rockets for this year? Win totals. What do you got?
I was pegging them at around 22, so I might be slightly at the under.
Slightly under. Yeah, that's about what I have them too. I was going to actually say 23, which would be exactly the under. These Vegas lines some of them are just so scary accurate. It's crazy. It really is. All right. So, yeah, we're going to take a break. We'll come back. We will discuss the Adams situation in News You Can Use. We also have a little more to talk about as it relates to Major League Baseball. And we'll continue on from there. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on the Cave.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you are ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
All right, we're back. Great to have you aboard. Now, these roughing the passer calls, before we get into the baseball and news you can use, these roughing the passer calls are, I find them annoying. I find them disruptive, and I find them, frankly, unproductive. I know you have something on this too, Rich. You know, we've had differences of opinion in some areas with this, agreement in others. So where are you with this right now?
Well, I'm looking at stats instead of perception.
Okay.
Perception around the NFL is they have a roughing the passer problem.
Mhm.
Stats say it's not true. During 5 weeks, the first 5 weeks of this season, roughing the passer has been called 26 times. Thank you to the people at NFLpenalties.com. The last 4 years at this time, there were 51, 38, 54, 49. So it's being called less.
What that's an interesting stat.
Oh, but Tom Brady gets superstar treatment. Is that true? How many roughing the passer penalties have involved Tom Brady so far this season?
No idea.
1.
Just the one that everyone's talking about.
Yeah, guess how many all last year?
No
1.
idea. 1?
I'm not defending Brady. That call was crap. It was a bad call.
Well, I have a question.
Perception kind of differs from reality.
No, then that makes sense. But I have a question. So those numbers are from the start of this year, correct?
Yes.
What week did the Tua thing happen? Is that week 3?
Week 3, yes.
I'd be curious 5 weeks from now, week 3 to week 8, what those numbers look like by comparison to week 3 and week 8 last year. Because I have a feeling it's escalated since that. It's an overreaction. And if reality pans out...
Well, I don't know, because half the numbers... I mean, if you look back over the years, like I said, 26 this year. Last season, it was 51 after 5 games.
Right. I guess I would just like to see these numbers over a similar sample size post to because and then if they pan out the same way, then I think that's I think we're ready to kind of, make some conclusions from there. But because my contention has been that in the wake of that, we've had an overcorrection. That's been my main talking point. Not so much dating to pre that play, but post that play. So that's something maybe if we can make a note to check back on in 5 weeks, that would be interesting to do. I'd be curious to know that.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah,
because I'm interested in that too. But I mean, it doesn't look like they're calling more. I mean, my eyes are telling me something different.
Right.
Quarterbacks get treated with kid gloves. I admit that. The one on Derek Carr Monday night was a joke too.
Yes.
But I don't think we need to go DEFCON 1 here. It's not. It doesn't look like by the numbers.
Right.
that it is. And I will look back at this after week 8 and see.
Yeah, I'm just curious. That would be something I would like to really know. But no, that's good intel. Good job digging that out.
And see if we can do a comparison on it.
Yeah, no, that's really good stuff. What do you make?
I mean, and then another thing I found kind of interesting. Only one other starter has a lower roughing per 100 attempts than Brady. Who do you think it is?
Aaron Rodgers?
Kyler Murray.
Interesting.
It is.
Kyler Murray, huh? Interesting. I tell you what, I really was mad at Arizona this week. Furious. I was so close to winning both that game and the Raiders game. I had money on both on the upset, and I lost both by the skin of my teeth. That's one of those days when you day drink after that. That's a Monday day drinking excuse. It's when you bust out the Yukon Jack, baby.
Oh, the Yukon Jack will set you straight.
Oh, that's great. All right, let's take one more break. We'll come back. We'll do news you can use. The Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
All right, it's time for some news you can use. What do we got today?
Well, thanks to Dylan and Notoriety Sports, which was just breaks so much great stuff.
Always.
Yeah. I had this on my first thing on news you can use, that the photographer filed the assault claim. Well, he has been charged. Misdemeanor assault, not a felony. And when he shoved the photographer to the ground, I don't know why he did it. I'm sure he was angry coming off that loss and the way they lost the game. But Adams said he jumped in front of me coming off the field. I kind of pushed him. He ended up on the ground, and that's a direct quote. Adams said he wanted to apologize to him because that was frustration mixed with him really just running by in front of me. Said he shouldn't have responded that way, but he did, and he wanted to apologize for that. So let's see how far this goes. Let's see if it goes to court.
Yeah, I mean,
the Raiders are backing Adams, as well they should.
Yep.
They said they'd cooperate in any investigation, but I mean, is this something that really needs to go to court?
No, this sounds like someone who's looking for a quick payday. because it's Adams and, he can try to extract some money from him. I have a feeling this will end with some type of payoff and that'll be the end of it. I mean, let's be honest. Did the guy really get hurt? I mean, he fell, whatever, a couple of feet onto the grass. Like, come on. Like this reminds me of like when you're like leaving a parking lot and like someone like hits your back bumper or you hit someone's back bumper, and instead of just being like, whatever, I got stuff to do, they like try to call the police, they file a police report, they call the insurance. It's like, dude, you've had worse from shopping carts. Like, stop. Like, this is what this feels like to me. Like, just let it go, man. Just leave it alone.
I know.
It wasn't that big a deal. It really wasn't. I mean, the fact that this is being called some kind of assault, I mean, come on. Like,
not felony assault.
No, but still, the word assault and the video of that incident don't jive. They just don't. So I just don't like it. But hey.
Yeah, I saw the film of it too. I didn't think it was something assault worthy.
No, so we agree there. Okay, what else we got?
Now, the NFL is to discuss roughing the passer penalties in wake of controversial Week 5 calls. Mm-hmm. Well, I did my best to try to debunk that myth a few minutes ago.
So Week 3, we went like this. Boom! Now, week after Week 5, we're going like this. Boom! And the stats are saying this.
So let's see what
what are we doing?
I really don't think there are more now. I just think we're making a bigger deal out of them.
Right. On both sides of it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And now the NFL owners are going to meet in New York. The competition committee is going to be there. They make the recommendations for rule changes. What are we going to do? Are we going to make rules about this? I get that protecting quarterbacks is a big thing. It's priority for owners, and that's, they're faces of the franchise, the better ones. Mm-hmm. But, and the fact that 25 quarterbacks this year are making at least $25 million, you do want to protect them in some way, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Some people are saying, gee, should we review these? And I'm like, no.
No.
We review too much now.
Right.
Please don't add something else to the list of reviews.
Yes. It's like that Matt Walsh documentary, What is a Woman? You could almost have the same documentary in football. What is a catch?
Yeah.
You really could. Like, it's like, it seems like such a basic thing, but it's like become so complicated because of these ridiculous reviews and these like all these crazy rules and everything. What is a catch?
Well, and there you're fighting more inconsistency too. A running back can just blindly throw the ball almost over a flag and it's a touchdown.
Right.
Wide receivers, you got to get 2 feet in. You got to make a football move. You got to hold the ball up after to the football gods to make sure they see it's a touchdown.
Right. You got to control it through the ground. The ground can't cause the fumble. The ball can't be moving. Yeah, I know. It's insane. You're absolutely right.
Ground can't cause a fumble when you're a running back, but the ground can cause a fumble when you're a wide receiver.
No, it's true. You're absolutely right.
And this is one of my gripes with the NFL is games take so long because they're over officiated. Mm-hmm. And more replay is just going to make that worse.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of replay in any sport, to be honest with you. Like, to me, I would just as soon strike it from use altogether and just live with the results. Honestly, I don't think it's to this point affected the NBA quite as much as baseball and the NFL. But I will say this, when there is a review in the NBA, it tends to take longer than it does in other sports. The NBA reviews tend to take 100 years. And maybe it just feels that way because the NBA action is otherwise so fluid and constant compared to the other sports, which is more stop and go. But so it could just be a perception thing like it is with these hits that we were just talking about. But
it's the same thing with hockey too.
Right.
Sports that have more movement. The NFL doesn't have anywhere near as much movement.
Right.
In baseball, has the least.
Right, exactly. Yep.
But in those two sports in particular, where the action is going back and forth, a review feels like it takes hours.
It feels like you're a kid in the corner. Like, we'll tell you when you can come out of timeout.
Yeah.
When? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? When are we going to be there? Shut up.
Well, I'm quoting Ed Werder.
Okay, good report.
And he said, one NFL competition committee member said to me on the roughing the passer issue, he's not naming names here, and I get that. Well, the hard part is because we have no real standard for what roughing the passer looks like, we will always get a wide range of what a referee decides is and isn't a foul. The only way to correct that, oh, you're going to love this, is to have a, quote, review process for personal fouls. We may even have to do that for offensive and defensive pass interference. These are huge fouls that impact and can change the game when the foul is or isn't called. I don't know if the powers would want that review process for personal fouls or not, though. I mean, please tell me it's not going to get to the point where we're going to review everything.
You know, Warder, you do a good job reporting, and that's what you're doing there.
And he's just quoting someone.
No, so. Right. But like, let's not do that and say we did. Please. Like, please, pretty please, with sugar on top.
He's not making that decision.
No, I know that. But I'm just reacting to the report here. Like, let's not do that. It's bad enough with the replay already. We don't need more. We need less. Like, how about this? Let's make it cleaner with less stipulations on the rule. Let's make it more like I always say this with the tax code. Like, no, we don't need to adjust the code. We need to cut 4 million pages from it. Like it should be, you shouldn't need an accountant to know what you owe the IRS, because they know exactly what you owe them at every moment to the penny, but you got to figure it out through a maze of crap. Like, it shouldn't be that way. The NFL knows what its rules are, but like, we're left to figure it out. And these poor refs, I really feel for them. They're left to try to enforce war and peace at the pace of lightning, like in the moment with the world watching. That's a brutal job. That's mission impossible right there. It's not fair. Like, make these rules more straightforward. That's the solution.
I agree with you. I compare the NFL rule book to the tax code.
It is. That's right. Completely. That's why I said it. Absolutely.
There is just way too much in there.
Right. Totally agree.
The longer it takes, I mean, I laugh at people who complain about NBA games. Oh, the last 2 minutes takes an hour. Really? The average time of a game is about 2 hours and 5 minutes if it doesn't go into overtime.
And it's all
that's almost an hour and a half less than an NFL game.
Right. And it's full of action the whole way.
Yes.
Yeah. Any basketball game is. That's not just the NBA. All basketball in general is like that. College, whatever.
Don't put any more time, please, into rules.
Yes, less rules. Mud wrestling. Let's go. Let's go. Call your own fouls. No blood, no foul. Let's go. All right. What else we got?
The spokesperson for All That Is Right, Patrick Beverley.
Uh-oh.
On Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole, quote, that should never happen. Hello, Pot?
Yes. Beverly, have you not done this before? Oh, my goodness. Yikes.
Amazing.
It really, truly is. What's going on here?
Oh, please.
No, I was just going to say that Patrick Beverly, he reminds me in this situation like a guy that the feds go to when they're trying to bust drug kingpin. You don't go talk to the upstanding lawyer. You go talk to one of the competitors who has an axe to grind. So like this is Patrick Beverly here. He's got the axe to grind because he does the same crap as Green. So you go to him for his opinion on Green, and he wants to make Green look bad to make himself look better. It's like, come on, man. It's like, we see right through this nonsense. Let's go.
And yes, Beverly did smoke CP3,
Oh,
and
he
it was
did.
funny.
Oh, it was. That's good stuff.
This is interesting. The Colorado Avalanche unveil their 2022 Stanley Cup rings tonight. They have 669 diamonds in them. Where in the hell are you going to wear that? What's the point?
You know when you wear that is you wear that to your doctor's appointment when you're getting weighed in, and then the next time you go, you take it off. So they're like, "Wow, you're doing a good job losing some weight." It got to be at least 10 pounds.
Probably. Yeah.
That's when you do that.
Oh, amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's good stuff. What do you make about Tom Brady buying a pickleball team?
That was next, believe it or not. It's like you looked at my notes.
Tom Brady buying pickleball.
It seems to be the thing to do.
It is. I'm going to be curious now that this is growing in such a rapid way. I'm going to be curious to see if the sport lands a significant national media partner. Like, am I going to turn on ESPN one day and see like pickleball on TV? And if I do, I want it to be Lon McCarron and Norman Chad calling it, like the old poker days. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, apparently their payoff in this league this year is $2 million. So, and you and I had a discussion yesterday.
Yes.
Everybody competing is old. When I went to pick up my daughter at work yesterday, her boss had said, he's young, he listens, and he goes, "Oh, no. A lot of people play that you don't think about." The intern in the office at 19 years old had his pickleball equipment in his car.
There you go. So yeah, I'll be curious to see if they get a broadcast deal with someone, and then who they would select to be the commentators for that. That would be really interesting. I do think, all joking aside, I do think Lon McCarron is actually a really good broadcaster, and I'd like to see him get some additional assignments besides hanging out with Norman Chad doing poker.
That would be an interesting. I'm sure it would be like calling. Well, it would even be faster than calling a tennis match, but it would be similar in some ways.
Yes, it would be like calling an Olympic sport of some kind, I think.
Yeah.
You'd have to have some type of alternate style of coverage. You would need almost like a John Madden type as the color commentator, not the personality necessarily, although that couldn't hurt, but more it's fourth down. You're going for it. If you don't get it, the other team gets the ball. As dumb as that sounds, with a sport like this that most people are not going to be that familiar with, certainly the intricacies of the rules, you need someone to talk on a second grade level and explain it to the audience, at least for the first few years, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I would need that. I would need that.
You do.
I mean,
and
I would need that myself.
Oh, yeah. Well, and it makes sense. You're introducing a fairly new sport.
Right.
A growing sport, but still a new one.
Right.
There's a lot of people that haven't seen it, don't know much. I mean, I've read some of the rules, but I'm sure a lot of people haven't because they have lives.
Right. And we don't.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely. I remember the NBA made all these changes. I read the rule book. Oh my God, there wasn't enough coffee in the world.
Unbelievable. Really is. Got a couple of minutes left here. You got one or two more?
I do have a couple more.
All
Ex-Angels employee gets 22 years in the death of Tyler Skaggs.
Yes.
Former LA Angels employee was sentenced to 22 years in federal prison for providing Angels pitcher Tyler Skaggs the drugs that led to his overdose death.
I don't know how I feel about this. I mean,
he faced at least 20 years in one of the two counts. So I guess they just rounded it off to 22.
It seems to me like an overly punitive amount of time for essentially leading the horse to water. But like Skaggs took the drugs. I mean, ultimately, to me, like the person that provided them, I understand there being something there, like illegal drug possession, illegal sale of drugs. I get that. I'm not suggesting that shouldn't be punished in some way. But I mean, you're basically treating this like second-degree murder.
Well, and again, the prosecutors presented evidence that came making derogatory comments about Skaggs, his family, prosecutors, jurors, in phone calls and emails.
Right.
And it's like, emotion does kick in at some point, and you're kind of doing this to yourself.
Yeah, all those things probably didn't help his cause at all, but it still seems like a really long sentence for really not killing him. I mean, Skaggs had to take the drugs, and then he had to take so much of them that he overdosed.
Now, unless he gave him to him in something or unwillingly, I don't know the entire thing.
Right. If that's the case, then I retract my statement completely. I don't know that to be the case either. But that wasn't specified in the news article, so I'm assuming that wasn't the case.
Right.
But if this was like date rape drug on steroids, then okay, then never mind. Then that's murder. Absolutely.
Right.
No question.
See if I can get a couple more in here. LaMelo Ball has a grade 2 ankle sprain. He's going to miss the start of the season.
Ouch. Not good.
Don't know for how long. His return, the Hornets are saying, will be determined by his response to rehab and treatments. And right now, it's just going to be a wait and see. Will this poor guy never get a break?
Other than broken ankle, doesn't look like it.
Yeah, that's a shame.
It is a shame.
Yeah. Commies head coach Ron Rivera apologizes to Carson Wentz.
I'm sorry I said you suck when you suck. I apologize.
For singling him out. Well, I didn't like the fact he singled him out. There's a lot of people on that team that are bad.
Yeah, but the quarterbacks get all the credit, so they should take the blame too.
Yeah.
Goes with the territory. Come on, man. Man up. No apologies needed.
We got one more quick blast from Dylan.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. It gave me an idea of something I wanted to spend the last couple minutes on. Right now, I don't know the health of Prescott when he's, physically able to come back. But I do know this. Even if you're going to bring him back as the starting quarterback, with the way the season has gone, there's going to be a media quarterback controversy the rest of this year. Anyway, it feels very much like a Nick Foles, Carson Wentz type of situation all over again. Funny, they're playing the Eagles this week. I personally would trade Dak Prescott or Cooper Rush right now. One of them. I'm trading one of them. I'm getting ahead of this. Maybe Rush has his value at his all-time highest. Maybe Dak is at his all-time lowest, but I still think you get more for Dak at low than you do at Rush for high. Either way,
I agree.
I'm trading one of them.
Plus, I want to get rid of that contract.
I'm trading one of them, either one, and I'm getting ahead of that controversy. I want no part of that because this is a really good team. I know Rush is getting the credit because quarterbacks do, like I just said, and that's fine. But I don't think this team wouldn't have had similar success with another competent quarterback, whether it be Dak or someone else. I think this team is the best defense in the NFL. Their pass catching and running game has been steady, not spectacular. I think this team's legitimately good. And I think that I don't want any kind of controversy or distraction. I'm trading one of these guys prompto and getting ahead of this.
Well, last night, Jerry Jones said that if Prescott wants to get back in the lineup, he better be putting a spin on that ball. So they're not going to push him along if he's not ready.
Right, of course. So that makes total sense. Well, there you have it. That does it for us today. Good stuff. A lot of fun. And
yeah,
it was a good show. A little zing on the way out the door here. Trade Dak and Zeke as a package. Houston would instantly become relevant for the first time in 100 years. I think it was more like 105. But yeah, I get your point, Dylan. Good way to end the show. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 to noon. The Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.